Live on social media. Hello, everyone. Welcome for another episode of the Puppet Podcast. I'm Caroline. I'm doing this podcast with all my passion and enthusiastic mood, and I want to bring more attention towards puppetry arts and a puppetry artist. And I'm so happy to be with you tonight because we have the wonderful Rob Dark, who will start the show in few seconds. But I want to also say some word before the interview. I want to invite you to see our Patreon community. We have this wonderful Patreon that we do to bring more tools to puppeteers. And we also, I must have something to bring in the screen. A book. We launched a book a few days ago, and this is amazing. It's the adventure of the Puppet Podcast. But look at the Patreon and support the podcast. This is how we manage to make that go right and keep doing that. So have a look on this. And yes, gather everyone for this wonderful interview. I see you have people in the room who join us live, and feel free to chat with us. It's the magic of live social media podcast. So you can ask questions, bring comment, art, thumbs up, whatever. And yes, we will be with you. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's start right away and bring in the screen the wonderful Rob. Hey.
Hello. I had to start with something silly. Hello.
Yeah, it's bring the mood.
It's yes. It's the opposite of grouchiness right now. We're just starting right off with pep and joy, and I think some so a couple of the other reindeers, pep and joy, and I'm not sure which, but anyway.
Yeah, thank you,
Hello,
Rob, to be
Carolyn.
part. Yeah, I'm so happy to have you on the show.
I'm a big fan of the podcast. First time participant, long time watcher.
But that's great, and I'm happy to have you because you are a really talented puppeteer. You have many stuff behind you. I know you will talk about all of this, but I want you first to present yourself to the community who are watching right now.
Hello, community. I am Rob D'Arc. I'm a puppeteer for 40 years, which means I'm getting better. I'm improving. Yes, I was a solo puppeteer. I had a puppet theater in Riverside, California, for 10 years. The Kidstuff Puppet Theater. I built over 30 shows for that. I started out at medieval times and Renaissance fairs and so on and so forth. I have worlds of anecdotes about all of the wonders of show business. And I was a child. My father was one of the singing group, the Four Lads, who are known for the song Istanbul, not Constantinople. Now it's Istanbul, not Constantinople, which is a fun little tune to sing. And so that was their big hit. They had 6 gold records. My dad was in it for about 25, almost 30 years. And we got to travel a lot. We went to Japan and we went to quite a few places. And I got to meet a lot of celebrities and I talked to them like, they're just regular people. And so I have a lot of time in my past learning about what makes a performer good, because they speak informally when they're off stage, so but that's it. I've made a lifetime study, and right now I'm in my golden years, and I'm trying to draw to me some possible apprentices, people to mentor, because there's a lot of stuff in here that filtered in from all of the wonderful teachers I've had, and I'm trying to now push it back out again and give it to other people. Sometimes people ask me, where do you get your ideas? And I say, would you like some?
I have too much. I have to throw it.
I'm never going to get through all these ideas. So, that's what I'm trying to do, is push the ideas on to new people who can finish them. And that's the goal.
Amazing. It's so cool. So, Rob, I want to let you know that we have people who are watching. We have Heidi who say, yeah. Rubina say, who? Rob. I will just throw all of those. Diane Mortier, who was watching from Vermont. And yeah, we have hooray for mentors. So
Heidi's one of my students with the pop-up puppets. That's her specialty. She took one of my workshops at a puppetry festival. The pop-up puppet is basically a gateway drug to puppetry. It's the goal is here to make it its own form, like hand puppet, rod puppet, shadow puppet, pop-up puppet, and it's basically so that people can use it in education, for kids on the spectrum, for librarians, speech pathologists, storytellers, but also to do fancy ones that you could actually do shows with. So this is a fancy pop-up puppet.
let me go bigger with that. Whoa.
It's got
Wow.
linkages.
Yeah.
So
Wonderful.
I'm working on a book that's going to be the compendium of pop-up puppets, and it'll have patterns and things like that, so that people can make these same things and come up with their own designs. Sometimes I like to put something inside the mouth.
This is this is a lot of talent. Yeah, you have support also. We have Tim who say, "Woohoo, go Rob!" And that's from Mexico. People are also watching here, and yeah, I feel you attract a lot of attention towards your talent, and this is great. But I want to hear you for those deep questions of the Puppet Podcast.
Oh yeah, please, deep question me, but shine a light, and I'll answer.
Yeah,
I'm not saying nothing, Warden. I'm not saying nothing.
I want to hear you on what makes the art of puppetry an art that you cherish.
Oh, okay. This is a very good question. I like this question. It's basically, here's what it is. It's one art form that in order to do it, you have to be able to be a master of at least 5, 6, 7 other art forms. In other words, you can't even approach this unless you've got some other skills. It's going to take you a number of years. So when people ask you what should you do to be a good puppeteer, the answer is everything. You should be able to do every kind of form that you can think of, and somehow it will connect into puppetry. I can tell you that I was on a plane once, and the kid was crying in front of me, and I went over the top of the seat like this with the puppet, and it stopped him dead in his tracks. And then the stewardess said, "Come on up front, sir, chicken or fish." And so, I mean, I'm not in the airline industry, but I think that I probably wouldn't have gotten such good treatment if I hadn't have been a puppeteer. So I think, I didn't even know a guy who got out of a speeding ticket with one once. So, but it's just important to me that people understand that it's not just a frivolous thing. It's not just for kids. It's a serious form. It takes years of study. Just look at Bunraku, 7 years to do feet, 7 years to do the body, 7 years. It's a commitment of time, energy, and skill. And when people say, "Oh, it takes talent to do that," the real talent is being able to survive for almost 60 years on macaroni and cheese and top ramen. If you can do that, then you can be a puppeteer. That's the only real requirement, is you have to be able to live on the minimum lifestyle.
Yeah, peanut butter. Do you have a?
It's basically it's like being in a monastery. Boom. You're hitting yourself in the head, and that's what you do. But you do it for your art because you have to.
Yeah, and it's so much talent that you show us, and I want to hear you, because it's kind of a good trick to always carry a puppet with you as you are a puppeteer, because you can explain in vision what you do, right?
That's right. I got a seat in a New York City subway once, and I did like this. And if somebody is grouchy, they'll either smile at you or they'll get the heck out of your way. Either way, you win. And the guy said, "I'm out of here." So I got to sit in the subway. It's a great, and when they work in every language, that's the other thing too. Bésame, bésame mucho. This one speaks Spanish. I don't speak Spanish, but he does speak Spanish.
That's so great. We have Karen and Drew.
Spanish one. I didn't get any better at
it. Yeah. Karen say she talk about mustard sandwiches. So
that'll keep you from getting a cramp. It's good for you.
This is
One of
perfect.
my mentors, Preston Hibbard, told me that the perfect breakfast to have before you go out and do a puppet show is a frozen waffle toasted with some peanut butter and banana on top of it. And that what you do is the banana and the protein and all that other stuff helps get you through the gig. But the most important part of it is never listen to NPR while you're getting ready for a show, because you just show up angry. So just avoid listening to politics while you're getting ready to do a show.
That's good advice. Let's
Yes, it is.
just throw
He
that in
also
our.
said the wisest thing I ever heard, which is, don't lose your head to save a minute. You need your head. Your brains are in it.
Wow, this is poetry.
I know.
This is amazing. I want to hear you also on your definition. Every puppeteers define the art form differently. So I feel, what is your own definition to define a puppet?
A puppet is an object that imbues the illusion of life in whatever capacity it can convey it. So it doesn't matter what the object is. If it can breathe, if it can appear to be thinking, if it can appear to evoke an emotion, then it is a puppet. A perfect example of this, if you haven't already seen this, is Burr Tillstrom's The Berlin Wall, that was on This Is a Week That Was. Back, just Google it on YouTube.
Yeah.
Burr Tillstrom did a ballet with his hands where he did the wall coming up, and he did the two people who were saying goodbye to each other, and with the wall in the middle, and it's guaranteed to make you cry, and it explains so much about human nature with his hands. He was a guy who did Kukla, Fran, and Ollie, but he had remarkable sensitivity. So I think that's really puppetry, is if it can make you cry. I saw a show, Theater im Wind did a show called what is his name? The character's name? I'll think of it. But anyway, they did this show, and the character was so rigid it didn't have any facial expression, and they were speaking in German. But I was listening to the cadence and watching the thing move, and I thought to myself, I'm putting my performance on top of it, is what I'm doing. But the object made me forget that it wasn't alive.
Yeah.
And that's when puppeteers say, wow, I have to learn how to do that.
Yes, so amazing. That's true. And we have Heidi who just dropped the link, I think, of what you were talking about.
The name of the German show was Ermann, Hermann, and he opened the show by frying an egg, where Ermann was making an egg, and he fried an egg in the audience with the smell of the egg, and then he put it on a plate, and he sat the puppet down, and he took a forkful, and then he had the puppet hold the fork up, and he looked up at the puppeteer, and the puppeteer ate the egg and said, Ermann and I had a special relationship.
I love it. I love it.
I just love that stuff. That's what moves me about puppetry, when you forget it's an object.
Yeah, and it's amazing how we are a group of like-minded people as we follow this podcast. But we have Judy who say that's true about people either avoiding you or coming straight over with puppets. It's so cool to bring, so everyone bring puppets with you all days.
Because you know what it does really is that the people who come over straight over to you, they're your people, and that's what you want to have. And the people who walk away from you, you really don't want them there, because there's something they have an issue, and you have to deal with it. And I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm not a psychologist. I don't have a sign around my neck saying free advice, 5 cents. I don't, they have to work this out.
Yeah, you attract the good people. That's basically of it, and that's
kind of what it is to have a good life, is to bring in the things that make you happy and avoid the things that make you unhappy.
That's so true. And I want Rob some anecdote about your crush. I always love to hear the crush moment of puppetry.
Okay, this is I have an actual origin, like a Marvel supervillain. I have a real, honest to God story that I know the day that I became a puppeteer. So this came in the mail for my family. This was the notice in the mail from the Bill Baird Marionette Theater to my father, at 2725 Sedgwick Avenue, Bronx, New York. And I had no idea what was in store for me at this, but it was Winnie the Pooh. And my mother wrote down, because she was a Virgo, and she wrote everything down. November 9th, 1960, wait, 1969, November 9th. That's the day I became a puppeteer. And how it happened was I saw the show Winnie the Pooh, and at the end of the show, I refused to leave the theater. I put my hands behind the seat back, and I put my feet where it was bolted to the floor. And I told my parents, you might as well just go home, because I'm not leaving. And they said, well, we'll get you a grilled cheese sandwich. And I said, no, they'll feed me here. Don't worry about it. You can go on, Mother. You can go on. I'm not leaving. And then the puppeteers came down looking for hats and jackets, and they saw me, and they were, oh, look at the poor kid. He's got the bug. And then they made it worse. Would you like to see the backstage? Yes, please. And so then my parents said, should we come? No, you stay, go to the lobby. He'll meet you there. So they took me up. I saw everything. It was amazing. Baird's Theater was just remarkable. I actually walked out on the bridge, and they said, it was 14 feet from the ground. And he said, Bill fell there a couple of weeks ago, and that's why he's got a cane. And he was only the voice of Eeyore today and not actually performing Eeyore. And I was like, oh, thanks for telling me that now, while I'm out on the bridge. But anyway, we went down to the lobby, and I was going down the steps. Now, this is the part I have to explain to young people. When I was a kid, we weren't allowed to interrupt another adult. You had if it was an adult talking to another adult, you had to be quiet and wait for them to acknowledge you. And we didn't have self-esteem at all. It was not until the 70s we invented self-esteem. I think Alan Alda had something to do with it. But anyway, so I was standing there as I was coming down the steps. Baird was talking to another adult. He saw me out of the corner of his eye, and he did this to the adult. And he turned around and he got this close to my face and said, "What'd you think?" And that was it. I was done.
This is amazing. That's
I told
true.
Peter Baird it was his fault, because he's the one who told me. I'm pretty sure he was the one who said, "Come backstage." And I said, "You know how vampires make other vampires, Peter? This is what you did to me." So that's my origin story, and I've been doing it ever since.
This is amazing. And that's true that we can influence kids as a practitioner when we are on stage, and we can, we have
when I did my shows, I'd bring kids backstage after the show every time, and I encourage them to put on the puppets and try them and see, because if they don't try, if they don't see what's going on, they don't get the opportunity. I also I used to do junior achievement. I talked to kids in junior achievement, and a couple of them would pull me aside and say, "You're the first adult that ever told us that we could do what we love rather than do what we don't like to do in order to afford to do what we love." Yeah. Which is, that's the difference between, a job and a calling.
Yeah, with a lot of passion. I have the same question than ID. How old were you at this time?
7 years old. I was 7 years old when I decided that I was going to be a puppeteer. And all the adults said to me, "You cannot make any money doing that." And they were all correct. But that wasn't my goal.
Yeah, let's talk about goal as you drop this. I want to hear you on your goal as a puppeteer. What was the goal?
Well, here's the story. Now this is going to sound like I'm being maudlin, and I don't want you to be sad about this, but I have Parkinson's, so I can't continue to do what I used to do forever. I have one hand that really works well, and the other hand is not so great. And so what I'm doing now is I'm doing a legacy project where I'm creating all of the things that I've done over the years that people might have not seen or missed or ignored or whatever. I'm putting it all out there onto the web so that there's something. Dick Myers, I saw a show that was a Dick Myers show of like Cinderella, that some young student, I can't think of his name right now. Sorry, I'm so sorry, because I know you, but I can't think of your name. And he put together a show from Dick Myers that had been pretty much lost when he died. And so I love that idea. I love the idea of resurrecting shows that maybe didn't have a full run or didn't have a good opportunity. So there's that. And then I'm also trying to mentor people so that I can finish some of the projects that I want to do. and see how that works out. And then the other thing is that I'm just basically trying to create an opportunity for people to learn all of the things that I've learned over the years. I had a proper apprenticeship with a French puppet troupe, a husband and wife and their children. Their children said, I don't want to do this anymore. And Roger, the husband, he was getting a little older. And so Nina and I, we teamed up and we're doing shows together, and it was a lot of improv, and I would throw terrible puns and she'd kick me in the butt from behind the scenes. She had both puppets up in the air and she'd still kick me in the butt. And, I learned a lot. And I have a very good French accent now because of it. So I can do, because she would just say on the phone, it is obesity in Beach Boulevard between Bowl and Cerritos. Bowl in Beach Boulevard. Rob. And I'd come over and I'd say Beach Boulevard. Oh.
That's true. The accent. It's a lot of accent.
They did a show once for kindergartners, and then they got a call about an hour and a half later that all the kids were speaking in French accents.
Wow.
They were all walking around and talking like, I love that.
Yeah, the French accent is fun to do, I think, in English, to talk English with this French accent. I love it. We have people who react to all what you say. Like, Robin said it was a junior achievement. I think it was in your story. And yes, I would just drop this. But Heidi, again, drop a link.
Oh, the Dick Myers Puppetry Project. That's lovely. Thank you, Heidi.
Yeah,
she's fast with a finger. She's fast with the typing and the keyboard and everything like that. I'm terrible. I'm like Hunt and Peck one, and very good. Seth Schaefer, that's him. Thank you. I can be safely senile now because you people are covering up for me. That's good.
Yeah, they are with you in the interview. I love that. Do you feel, Rob, the puppetry art is in an ascension right now, or
Absolutely.
is getting?
Absolutely. And in fact, I will tell you that I believe that because of the web, we have weirdly become more disconnected from each other than ever before. We can't have a conversation with somebody and say, hello, nice day, because they look at you like, why are you talking to me? As a matter of fact, being a 60-year-old man, if I talk to a group of people under 30, they think I'm here to roast them and eat them, unless I say, I'm on Instagram. Then I'm okay. I'm fine. So basically it has isolated us in one way, but in another way, it has made the global community come together in a way that we can actually explore puppetry's primal roots. We were all shamans once. We explained lightning to the village. We explained earthquakes to the village. We did it with masks and puppetry. And so the computer has given us that power again to explain things. And then if you want to look for where is the hope for the future coming from, look no further than Mr. Barnaby Dixon in England. This kid is amazing. He's doing completely new styles of puppetry. He's doing dance, this tribal looking stuff. Look him up. He's got about 1.5 million followers on YouTube. And it might be the secret of where puppetry is going. It's becoming intimate and video oriented.
Yeah, that's so great. And it's funny how it's true that the web brings something new to the art form. I agree with you on this.
It makes us more of a global community, because you can talk to a stranger and say, "Oh, haven't you ever seen this? Yeah, the Berlin Wall was here. Look, I will show you." And then you're sitting there and you've got a guy sobbing that that you didn't know 5 minutes ago. Or if somebody says, "I'm from the Czech Republic," you go, "Oh, Hervinek and Spabel," and they go, "Yeah, Hervinek and Spabel." And now you can look them up and say, Kukla Fran and Ali, somebody from my generation. Yeah, we can watch Kukla sing Lemonade or something. It's there. It's all there, and we have access to it. As long as the sun doesn't have a solar flare and burn out all the satellites. But that's the science fiction mind working. So
yeah, we have
idea. Busy up here.
Yeah, and it's good because people approve also. Judy say, "Rob, you're bringing the truth." So
that's because I got a discount on it. I get it. There's a place down the street. You can get a big bag of truth for $1.50.
This is good. A wonderful mentor, say Tim. Also,
Oh, Tim, you're gonna make me cry. I miss Mark so much. Mark was a very talented kid, and he passed away just so young, and I miss him every day. Tim, I
mm,
really do. But you know
mm,
what? This is why we're here. We're here to pat each other on the shoulders and say, this is life. So that's
yeah,
what this is about.
yes. And we have Heidi bring a link. So let's look at all of those links after the interview.
So let's see. Just to go real quick, I want to tell you about. I make these pop-up puppet kits that I sell on my Etsy store, Planet of the Puppets, and it's to make these pop-up puppets. And I'm working on a movie for Heather Henson's Handmade Puppet Dreams with the talented Matthew McGee, who will be taking over the Pip and Squeak characters, who are my two signature characters. They're over there. That's Squeak. That's Pip. They're two little mice, and they're on my YouTube channel. They've got 5 of their shows on the YouTube channel. But this movie is going to be out on Amazon Prime on Handmade Puppet Dreams sometime soon, because we're still finishing up the final touches on it. But it's a wonderful opportunity to make these characters go from my generation to a younger generation and become web stars, and that's what I'm hoping for. So. And
Yeah.
we might pitch a series too.
Yeah, this is great. Yeah, let's bring one last question, because I want you to also drop all your social media at the end, because that's the purpose of this podcast also.
Sure.
I want you to hear you where you see the puppetry art in 10 years.
Well, I won't be here for that probably, but I think it's really moving in a good direction. And what I think is going to happen is that we have to have the national community and the international community are going to have to do a better job of talking to each other, because when I go to the puppetry festival, the national puppetry festivals, and I see all of my old friends, and I see who's still walking around, and I still, we have wonderful stories to tell and exchange. And it's my community, it's my people, these weird people who manage to get through life with this perspective that I have too. And then you have the international aspect of it. You have Charlottesville, you have and I can't get there. I can't get there to the Punch and Judy festival, where they're all on May Day. They sit out there on the lawn and they do 5 Punch and Judy shows all on top of one another. And I desperately want to see that. So there has to be some sort of a program. Back in the day, Bill Baird and Sergei Obraztsov had an exchange program where Obraztsov came to the United States and Baird went to Russia, and that was in the height of the Cold War. And I have no idea what they had to go through to make that work. But whatever that was, whoever helped organize that, if there's a relative of that person who's still alive, they need to come in and work out a coordination to get American puppeteers over to overseas and vice versa, and cut through all the red tape and get people to talk to each other in other languages. Then we'll have conquered the world peace issue, because we'll have laid the foundation.
Yeah, I approve that. As like UNIMA is the oldest association of artists in the world, I think we must like cut the ribbon and make everyone connect. And we have approval also on that idea. Yeah, absolutely.
Mr. Punch is from our first mention of Mr. Punch was 1662. So he's been around, and he's a terrible guy, and yet if we do understand him, because we understand his archetype, and people get to scold him and say that's not the way to do things. And if we're not doing that now as a country, we should be saying to those people who say that's the way to do it, no, it isn't. No. See, don't listen to NPR before you do a show. Very bad idea. Very bad.
That's true. We must bring us like lightly and just do our purpose as puppeteers and artists. I want Rob to ask you if you can bring stuff to the screen and also drop
Sure.
all your social media, because I know people want to reach you, want to learn more of you.
Yes.
So.
I'm very much a fan. I like to do little puppets with foam and clothespins, and this is the back of my head.
Wow.
You know how fast it was going when it hit the back of my head? Oh, my goodness. And then Matthew McGee taught me a nice technique of doing foil and tape and paper mache. So this is a little monkey that I'm working on. I do this asymmetrical style of puppetry so that the face can change as he changes expression as he moves. And he's going to be a little monkey in a tutu who's going to be sweeping up. I have a studio space at the Pike Place Market, and I live here and I work here. And so there's people who go out, sit on the steps and eat lunch, and they don't put away their trash. So I'm going to have him with a broom and have him cast a dirty look at them. And then here's a little Czech puppet from a suitcase show I did called the Chicken Little Red Hen Barnyard Hoedown. And it's a little oven clay puppet. And this is about 15 years old or maybe 20. And I just like the little Czech style puppets. So, I mean, basically, I'd like to encourage you all in your puppetry to be innovative. Don't stick with one style. Experiment. Use styles that work for the story and the context of the show. It's like art. You use watercolors to be pastoral. You use acrylics to be sharp and strong and bold, and it's the same thing. There's a book by it was Paul Winchell's teacher, Jero Magnin. Jero Magnin wrote a book about the styles of puppetry in regards to Cubism, Dadaism, and so on and so forth. It's a really good read for those of you who have an art background, or for those of you who don't have an art background and want to learn how it applies. It's a very good book. And it makes you think about what is an appropriate form of puppet for the story that you're trying to tell. So I think that's an important lesson for us too.
Yeah, so true. And Rob, if we want to reach you, see more of your work, where we go and see and look and Google?
I got something here I prepared. Here's a crawl. Now, is this backwards or is this right side out?
It's perfect. Let's go in solo. Yeah. Okay. I think it's a bit blurry.
Credit. Oh, wait. No, that could be just me. That's blurry. That's my paint.
Yeah, it's maybe the resolution of the camera. We don't see everything. Maybe you could. I can put it, if you take a picture, I will put it below the interview also, so we can have all of those good link.
Okay.
To that. But you are on Instagram.
My email is objet dark. See, that's a pun for those of you who understand that French is funny. objetdark@gmail.com.
That's perfect. Thank you so much, Rob, for all of that passion that you just throw towards the internet. And it's so great to have you.
Thank God I was vaccinated, because I'm so passionate. People are just like with umbrellas, like, geez, get away from this guy.
Thank you so much. And I would have to put you out of the screen, but stay in the virtual studio. We can chat a little after that.
Okay. Thank you.
Rob, thank you again. It's so great to have your.
If you're ever in Seattle, just come on. I'll give you the tour of the Pike Place Market. It's very unusual.
Yeah.
9 acres of complete craziness.
Yes, let's put Seattle on the road trip.
That's it. I love that idea.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Congratulations on the baby.
Oh, thank you.
Great.
Thank you. It's another hat to wear, the mom's hat. Thank you so much, Rob. So everyone say bye to Rob.
Bye.
Yeah, and June. Yay. And thank you everyone for watching. I feel we hit a lot of people on this live. So we have Heidi and Judy. Everyone, thank you for your comment and be so active. I feel it's helped me in the interview, and we are all together in this. So cool. So yeah, we have the bye. So that's so cool that I feel we have an audience, and this is amazing. So yeah, everyone, feel free to have a look to our Patreon community and to look at the book that just we release as the podcast, and yeah, stay in touch, connect with other artists as we are able to keep the hybrid stuff, as we keep, like, we go out and shows are back on the street, on the road, on stage. So yeah, and if you have any question, feel free to write to us. If you know people we must interview, yeah, just reach. We are really talkable people. So yeah, I think that's the end. Yeah, and I would say stay tuned for another episode of the Puppet Podcast, because we have many puppeteers to interview in many languages. So yeah, have a good evening, everyone. Bye bye.